Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a betting perspective. With pro sports handicappers, Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and various guests from the world of hockey and sports betting. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys, Friday, October 18th. Ian Cameron with you. Alex B. Smith momentarily as well, ready to break down this Friday NHL card. We've got 3 games tonight in the NHL and looking forward, obviously, to looking toward those. And actually, for only a 3-game card, it's not bad as far as betting opportunities, at least in my opinion. So we'll get into that in just a moment. First things first, though, I do want to mention, and it's very important to mention this as well, Tuesday, October 22nd, it is going to be our first Ice Guys live betcast of the season, and we are very much looking forward to it. Without a doubt, it's going to be one of these deals where we're going to have, obviously, the Frozen Frenzy, every team in action. You're going to get games staggered throughout the night every 15 minutes, beginning at 6 p.m. Eastern with the ESPN nationally televised game with the Flyers and the Capitals. So it's going to be a fun night. It's going to be it's just a wonderful experience. And if you're just tuning in to the Ice Guys show, this is your first season watching this show, listening to the podcast version of the show as well, and you have not participated in a betcast that we've done in the past, it's not too late to start. It is a lot of fun. It's great camaraderie with our viewing and listening audience. We do get some cameo guest appearances from time to time from former players that played the game as well. So we're very much looking forward to that on Tuesday night. It is just it's just really cool. It's just people that there's never been really any major incidents or animosity or anything like that. There's chirping, of course, but that's natural. You know, once in a while you do that. It's all fun. There's nothing, personal. There's no personal vendettas or personal attacks. It's just a really good time. People that love hockey, people that are passionate about the sport, hardcore hockey fans, hardcore hockey bettors that basically populate the live betcast on screen and join us during the betcast. So we're very much looking forward to it. Again, Tuesday, October the 22nd, 6 p.m. Eastern time, 5 p.m. Central. Again, if you want to join us on that betcast, make sure, again, the same rules apply as in the past, last year and years prior. You can DM me or Alex, Twitter X at Bobano Bets for me, at AX Smith Sports for Alex, or email me as well, bobano350@gmail.com. We will send you the link for the betcast if you want to join us on Tuesday night. So we're very much looking forward to that first live betcast, Tuesday night, October 22nd, starting at 6 p.m. Eastern time for the Frozen Frenzy. Yes, I have shaved, as everyone's clearly seen. For those of you watching on YouTube, you'll know that we kind of let it go. It just got busy, and I just, with work and handicapping multiple sports, that time of year now where sleep kind of dissipates and you fall behind on certain things. And grooming my, neck and chin area was one of those things that was lagging behind. So we got that taken care of yesterday, finally. So we're looking normal again. Like I said, back to the way Ian Cameron has looked for years. I'm not a big facial hair guy, so we finally had that taken care of yesterday. Yesterday in the NHL, we had a bunch of games, obviously, for this Thursday. It was a huge slate. We will begin with a thrilling game with Vegas and Tampa Bay. 2-2 after the first period. Vegas ended up with a 3-2 lead going into the third period. McNabb, Dorofeev got a power play goal. Close shave, Barbashev getting another goal for Vegas as well. He's off to a rip-roaring start offensively this season. And Vegas carries the 3-2 lead with them very much into the third period for most of that game. And then all of a sudden, bang, bang, 2 goals for Tampa Bay. Brandon Hagel with the tying goal. Nikita Kucherov from a very tough angle, and not one that Aiden Hill's going to be thrilled about. But Nikita Kucherov beats Aiden Hill from a sharp angle, under a minute left in the third, and a stunning turnaround for the Tampa Bay Lightning, down 3-2. They come back and they win 4-3 Probably one of the games that treated me the best last night was that one. We had Tampa. We had the first period and the full game over. Both of those cashed in as well. The Columbus Blue Jackets, 6-4 over the – and by the way, Tampa Bay looks really good so far this year. There's now 3-0 to start the year. Lots to like about the Lightning. They were a little bit looser defensively last night, but boy, they are finding ways to win right now. Vasilevsky kept them in it when it was 3-2. And just a really, really solid comeback win for a Tampa Bay team that we kind of thought for the first time in years, maybe a little undervalued going into the season. They've certainly lived up to those expectations. Buffalo and Columbus, back and forth affair. More defensive issues for the Sabres. That's back-to-back games now. They've given up a 6th spot. Pittsburgh on Wednesday night. And then, of course, Columbus last night, 6 goals for them. And really, everyone chipped in, whether it was Damon Severson on the blue line scoring, Matthew Olivier, who's more known for his truculence than his goal scoring. But he gets on the board. Fantilli, Marchenko, Shinikov score for the Jackets. More issues again for Buffalo, keeping the puck out of their net. Not a great night for Devin Levi. It was hung out to dry on a couple of those goals. Rasmus Dahlin with some harsh criticism toward his team after the game. The captain trying to step up and show some leadership and saying, we just got to be better than this. But not the start Buffalo was hoping for. They still have just the one victory on the season, which crazy enough came against the Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers. But 6-4 for the Jackets in that game. Obviously, it easily went over the total as well. And give Columbus credit. I was worried yesterday on the show about how would they respond following the emotion. And obviously, it was a very emotional night there for Johnny Gaudreau. Not the easiest ask to be able to come back 48 hours later and play a strong game. And Columbus gets the win there, 6-4 last night. So credit to them. Los Angeles, a much-needed win for them as they beat Montreal 4-1. Credit to David Riddick got the start. I was thinking it was going to be Copley last night, and it was a solid start for Riddick in net. Kept Montreal at bay, and the Kings, a workmanlike effort, certainly shored things up a little bit more defensively. They get a much-needed 4-1 win with the way this disastrous road trip had been going for them. They needed something positive to happen, and they were able to get, obviously, back in the win column with a 4-1 win last night against the Canadiens. Very solid win for the New Jersey Devils last night, 3-1 on the road against Ottawa, a game where they were pretty much in control most of the way. A very good goaltending performance, again, from Jacob Markstrom for the New Jersey Devils. Forsberg did play better, but wasn't enough to get his team the victory. Unfortunately, we had over by Fecta here, did not come through, did not get there with it. And New Jersey ends up with the 3-1 win. And now for Ottawa, they need Linus Ullmark back. And I know you can't put it all on Forsberg's plate as far as the blame. You got to be able to score more than one goal. You're not going to win. But fact remains they're 0-2 with Forsberg. And like I said, they need Ullmark back in that net without a doubt. Let's give credit to the Canucks. The Vancouver Canucks get their first win of the season off the schneid, 3-2 in overtime. Great wrist shot by JT Miller in overtime to get the Vancouver Canucks their first win of the season and a much-needed win. I thought they were deserving of the win. They had a good first period, as we talked about. I just wish they had the lead after the first period, with that puck line we took a shot with, but never in the first period at plus 180. But nevertheless, they had a good start. I think Florida's best period was the second, but Vancouver dialed it back in the third, and then they pretty much carried the play in overtime and eventually got the JT Miller winning goal. So very, very solid from the Canucks last night. Probably their best complete game of the season as a team, and it's good enough to get them their first win of the year. What a night for the Breadman. My gosh, Artemi Panarin went off at the Pizza Box last night at Little Caesars Arena. Hat-trick for Artemi Panarin in that game. 4 points overall, 3 goals and an assist. Just a huge monster night for Artemi Panarin, and he leads the way to a 5-2 win for the New York Rangers last night in that one. Should have known, right, with Cam Talbot after a shutout win for him against Nashville. Could he keep it going? The answer was no. He gets yanked after giving up the 5th goal. Alex Lyon comes in, finishes the game for the Detroit Red Wings. Rangers look good. Rangers look really solid. I thought they played a pretty sound defensive game as well last night, which helped out Jonathan Quick, who gets the win in his first start of the season here for the New York Rangers. So good to see that as well. Pretty solid in net and pretty good defensively, and lots to like with the Rangers. Other than the Utah game, got into a track meet and they lose in overtime. They still got a point in that loss. So they've collected points in every game this season, the New York Rangers. And I like the focus. We talked about that yesterday. Do you have the focus? Do you have, the maturity? You beat Detroit at Madison Square Garden, playing that same team again a few days later in Detroit. Do you have the maturity to get the job done again? And they did. So that's the sign of a very good hockey team. And like I said, they're living up to my billing that they're right there to win the Stanley Cup, right there to win the Eastern Conference this year. They certainly look like a team that's going to be in the mix. The Islanders and the Blues, some good and bad news betting-wise for me. The overs were dead. No chance there. It was a scoreless game. I'm kind of ashamed to say I had over 1.5 and over 5.5 in this game, and it was scoreless after regulation time. But what made up for it and got us, out of this game pretty much break even was we had St. Louis as a home underdog. They get the overtime winner. Won't you be my neighbor? Jake Neighbors getting the overtime winner for St. Louis. And we had a piece of the draw. The Thailanders come through for us once again at a nice plus 370 with the draw in that game. So it was great to see at least us get the draw and the Blues in the win column with that 1-0 St. Louis victory over the New York Islanders. So like I said, I thought there was value on the Blues, and give credit to Hofer. I blanked on the name for a minute. Yeah, Joel Hofer for St. Louis. Had a solid night, really good, in fact, for the Blues in net. He faced 30 shots, turned all 30, faced 34 shots, I should say, turned them all aside. A 34-save shutout for Joel Hofer in that game. Really, both goaltenders were really good. Sorokin, that's a tough luck loss for him, because I thought he played pretty well. But give the Blues credit. It was not the game. Nobody was happy about the way they played against Minnesota, and rightfully so. That was a pretty dismal performance from the St. Louis Blues, and a nice bounce-back win for them last night, 1-0 over the New York Islanders. The Nashville Predators, the struggles continue. Still winless on the season, still searching for that first win. They fall 4-2 to the Edmonton Oilers last night. Yeah, disappointing right now. 0-4 to begin the season here for the Nashville Predators. And right now, they're just not getting both sides of the puck clicking in the same game. Dallas, they're not good enough defensively. Detroit, they do play better defensively. They get shut out. The Seattle game, they do score 3 and then they give up 7. Last night didn't score enough, and they give up critical goals, especially when they had the 2-1 lead. And then there's they got the 2-2 goal from Marchessault, shift after a goal. They had a chance to really gain some momentum after Marchessault's power play goal in the second period, which tied that game at 2. But you just can't give up another goal the very next shift, and that's exactly what happened. Right after Marchessault got them back to even at 2-2, and then there's Connor McDavid giving the Oilers a 3-2 lead late in that second period. It was a backbreaker. It was just a momentum killer, to give up that goal for the Nashville Predators. And Edmonton, to their credit, played a bend but don't break third period. Yes, Nashville had more shots, but I don't think all of them were quality. And they put it away with the empty net goal. And look, Jonathan Marchessault was very, very candid with the media after the game. Says, I think people crowned us in the offseason. People thought we were going to be awesome. We were going to be great. All these phenomenal players we brought in, all these moves we made, but we got to have the work to go with it. Kind of hinting that the team is not working as hard as their opponent here early in the season. So pretty honest assessment from a guy who's been there, done that, Jonathan Marchessault. Who would have thought in 4 games, one thing to not score a goal in 4 games, but to not even have a point as well. That's kind of disappointing. Now, I'm not pushing the panic button with that when it comes to Steven Stamkos, that we've seen 4 games this year, and he doesn't have a point so far. But this is a guy that was steaming mad about the Tampa Bay Lightning lowballing him, not giving him the fair contract he deserved, the respect he deserved for spending his whole career with the Lightning, having a great career. Well, now you got to go out and make him and prove to them that they were wrong to lowball you, because right now you're proving them right, with the slow start that Stamkos is having here in Nashville. So, again, not a point in 4 games. Yeah, and that's another thing, too, Nick, about that -17 plus minus with Stamkos. If he's not going to score, he's got to compete better defensively than what I've seen so far. I'm seeing him not take a man in front of the net. I know when you're a forward, you've still got to mind that you've got to find other ways to impact the game positively for your team when the puck's not going in. I know offense is the name of the game for Stamkos. It's what we know him for, especially scoring. But when the puck's not going in for you, you've got to be an asset to your team in other areas. And I think his defensive game needs to be better, because you got to contribute in that area if you're going to struggle scoring goals like he is here to begin the season. So not the start Nashville was hoping for. Now, again, we're not saying, oh, Nashville, we got them wrong. Nashville's going nowhere. Season over, no playoffs. It's 4 games. It's an 82-game season. We do need to calm down. But it is concerning. It's not a push the panic button yet. I would say tomorrow's game now is very important. We'll talk about it on the Saturday show. They host Detroit. This is a Detroit team that in Detroit shut out Nashville last weekend, 3-0. This should be a response game, especially with Marchessault's post-game comments saying we all need to work harder. Our work ethic has to match the level of talent we have on this team. So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out with Nashville tomorrow, because I think that's almost, I don't want to say must win in Game 5 of the season, but to go 0-5 and lose again to Detroit, that would be disappointing. So we'll see if they have a positive response in them when they play the Red Wings tomorrow afternoon. And then the late games last night, we saw San Jose, Chicago, 4-2 Blackhawks. They win their home opener. Pretty workmanlike effort. And it was nice to see, Foligno scores again. I did sprinkle on Foligno, the goal prop. He gets a power play goal. But it was nice to see Taylor Hall get his first goal of the year and Tyler Bertuzzi get his first goal as a member of the Chicago Blackhawks as well. So definitely, I think, a situation where Chicago just did enough to win. Nothing wrong. They outplayed San Jose for most of that game. Mrazek was solid, and they chipped in enough offense to get the job done in their home opener. I mentioned this too on Twitter X. This is not right that there's problems for people in the Chicago area getting this Chicago Sports Network and it being available on their cable or satellite provider. It's not right that I'm here in Canada using my IP service, and I got CHSN added to my channel lineup earlier this week, and people in Chicago can't even get it on their provider. That's just unacceptable. They got to work to fix that because now the Chicago Bulls and the Chicago Blackhawks, both of those teams, all their games, all their locally broadcast games are going to be on that new channel, Chicago Sports Network. So they got to get that shit figured out and get some coverage and get some carriage with that network on all those. There's no reason that any cable or satellite provider shouldn't carry that channel in the Chicago area for those people. And then the last game was a pretty wild one. Seattle had a crazy outburst when it was 2-1 Philly. McCann ties it early in the second, 2-2, and then 3 goals within 3 minutes from Tolvanen, Eberle, and Wright to break it open 5-2. And then the Kraken played pretty poorly in the third with the lead. They were asleep. Eddie Olczyk's, just basically begging them from the broadcast booth to wake up and push back and finish the game the right way. It sounded like he was coaching them from the booth. That was pretty funny, and rightfully so, because they fell asleep in the third with that 5-2 lead. Next thing you know, 2 defensemen for the Flyers, Cam York and Jamie Drysdale, score goals and make it a 1-goal game, and all of a sudden it's nervous time again in Seattle, but Oliver Bjorkstrand, a huge breakaway goal to make it 6-4, put the game away, and a 6-4 Kraken victory. I had a piece of the draw. I thought maybe it was alive again once it got to 5-4, but I also had the over by Fecta there, and it cashed, so good to see that. But like I said, very entertaining Thursday night in the NHL. And for the Flyers, look, long road trip. We knew that was going to be a tricky spot last night, but they go home for their home opener now. And yes, Fedotov is definitely a work in progress. I said that yesterday, and he's still a work in progress after that game last night. All right, let's get into Friday's card. I don't know if we're going to have Alex with us today, but if not, no problem. We'll see him obviously back with us tomorrow on the Saturday show. It's Carolina and Pittsburgh. First of 3 games tonight. Penguins Carolina minus 165 road favorite. 6.5 the total in this game. Carolina's looked very good in the first two games. Even the game they lost against Tampa, they played well enough to win, especially at 5-on-5. A very great, solid effort, 4-2 against New Jersey earlier this week. They've really carried the play in both of the games they've played so far. We will see if that continues here tonight against Pittsburgh. Mike Sullivan being very honest about it, Tristan Jarry, and saying we're not getting his best right now. And as a result, they're going to turn to the youngster, Yoel Blomqvist, once again in net here tonight for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Is he maybe a slight upgrade from Jarry, the way Jarry's form is just brutal right now? Yeah, he could be, but you're still talking about a very young goaltender. I've got to see a lot more before I'm ready to buy into him. And plus, he's got a defense that's far below average, in my opinion, playing in front of him. So I think that's a concern here tonight against this Carolina Hurricanes team. I like Carolina here, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to split it between Carolina in regulation and Carolina -1 on the puck line. Carolina -1 on the puck lines around -110, -115, and Carolina in regulations around -105. I figure that's probably a better strategy to go with Carolina here in this game. I really like what I'm seeing from Carolina at the 5-on-5. If you look at the stats, too, that bear it out, they've really, really controlled the play. And their two games were Tampa Bay, undefeated on the season, and a very good New Jersey team. Clearly two teams that are a little bit better and well-rounded than this Pittsburgh Penguins team. So I'm going to split it up with Carolina -1, Carolina in regulation here in this game. I'm going to take over 6, and I'm going to go over 6 -126 at Pinnacle. 6.5 is the prevailing total. If you don't want to lay, I'd prefer having a 6, though, just in case it's like a 4-2 final. And I'm going against some very, very strong series history to the under. This has been a very strong under series history with the Hurricanes and the Penguins. But here's the thing. We've got Freddie Anderson in net. I don't think he's nearly as good at this stage of his career as Kochetkov, who was excellent, I thought, in the win against New Jersey. It's back to Freddie Anderson here. And Pittsburgh scoring goals. Will they generate those goals against Carolina, who've been stingy at 5-on-5 even strength defensively, is the question. They may need the power play to come through for them, Pittsburgh, if they're going to have similar offensive success tonight. But I look at it as, look, they're scoring goals. They've scored 6 in each of the last 2 games. But then again, Montreal started to show holes defensively. Buffalo can't keep the puck out of the net right now. So you're definitely not facing as sieve-like defense on the other side here with this Carolina team going into this one. So I'm on Carolina split regulation -1, over 6 as well in this game. Couple of props that I'm interested in. I keep saying Lars Eller, Drew O'Connor, whoever's playing with Crosby. It's basically the players I've been mentioning game in, game out here early in the season with Pittsburgh as far as goal props moving forward. And then for Carolina, you look at their lineup going into this game. It's going to be pretty much status quo. Svechnikov, Aho, Jarvis, Roslovic, Kotkaniemi, and Necas. Jackson Blake with his first NHL goal in the win over New Jersey earlier this week, and he had some other chances too in that game. I know he's only playing on the 4th line, but I can definitely see possibly him getting on the board once again here for Carolina tonight. All right, San Jose and Winnipeg. We've got the Winnipeg Jets -410 home favorites in this game. The total sitting at 5.5 across the board here in this game. Now, this one I lean to the under, but I would say if you're going to, I'm going to sprinkle on the under here, but I'm going to get under 6 at -128 at Pinnacle. I'd just rather have the 6 rather than trusting the under 5.5. Although if you do like under 5.5 here with the Sharks and the Penguins, or not the Penguins, Sharks and the Jets, you are getting plus money with that under 5.5. Blackwood in net for San Jose, which we're not surprised by because of the fact we saw Vitek Vanacek last night get the start for the Sharks in that game. Connor Hellebuck for Winnipeg. Well, Connor Hellebuck, we know, didn't have a good finish to the year last year, struggled in the preseason, but he's been very good in the first 4 regular season games. You can't ask for much more. He had a shutout against Edmonton and 1 goal allowed in the victories against Chicago and Minnesota. So you got to like what you see right now here from Connor Hellebuck in between the pipes for the Winnipeg Jets. San Jose is already dealing with some key injuries. They're a little bit banged up. This is a tough spot. They played in Chicago last night. Now they're going to have to play tonight here in Winnipeg. Looks like William Eklund is going to be out here tonight for San Jose. We know that Macklin Celebrini is still out. They're down a couple defensemen as well. So it's going to be a little bit of a shakeup here for San Jose up front, but that does present potential value. Now, I don't know how much goal scoring San Jose is going to do tonight. It's a road back-to-back. It's a Jets team that's given up 1 goal or less in all 3 games, 2 goals combined, 2 goals in the 3 games combined. So how much scoring San Jose does is a real question mark. So don't go crazy betting a ton of Shark goal props. But I will say this, Klim Kostin is moving up to the top line with Granlund and Toffoli, so there's probably some value on Kostin. Barclay Goodrow and Alex Wenberg are moving up to the second line with Fabian Zetterlund, so there's probably some value on those 2 guys. Doesn't mean they're going to score, but because they're moving up the lineup, that's the thing we look for with the goal props, the value component with these players that go up the lineup. You might see that for several of those players I just mentioned here for the San Jose Sharks. You look at for the Winnipeg Jets, they've been, kind of scoring by committee early on. Gabe Vilardi's been surprisingly quiet so far this year. Doesn't mean, he can't get things rolling, but, it's been a bit of a slow start to the season for him offensively. I look at this, and another thing, too, to keep in mind as far as this game staying under is concerned, the under is cashed in 7 of the last 8 head-to-head meetings. We're looking at 7-1 to the under between these 2 teams in the last 8 meetings. 3 games last year with the Sharks versus the Jets head-to-head. The scores were 2-1, 2-1, and 1-0. So all 3 of those games not only stayed under the total, they stayed pretty well under the total. So this is a spot where it's just, to me, we see San Jose continue offensively to sputter really ever since that first game when Celebrini got injured. Winnipeg's just been a defensive juggernaut so far. They've been shutting things down on the opponent. And in a game like this, too, this feels like, and remember, we saw Winnipeg last Friday night in a home game against Chicago. Very similar type of game that I think we might see here. Plodding, slower pace, kind of a sleepy environment. You could see something like that. I actually think, too, because I'm seeing the price now at FanDuel on this, plus 460 on the draw. I'm going to sprinkle on that. I could see it just exactly playing out like we saw last week, a week ago, last Friday night with Winnipeg hosting Chicago, where, you're facing a below average team, but you just do enough to win as the opponent just does enough to hang around. I honestly could see this being an overtime game. And look, last year with San Jose and Winnipeg, San Jose was even worse last year. And in the 3 games against Winnipeg, it was a 1-goal game each game. None of them went to overtime last year, but all 3 games were decided by 1 goal, which means to me there's some chance here for a draw to hit. And at that price, I'm willing to put a few shekels on it. Plus 460 at FanDuel with that Sharks-Jets draw here in this game. So it would be a draw and under look for me in this game. Draw under 5.5 or 6, depending on what you bet. But that's definitely what I'm interested in here with the Sharks and the Winnipeg Jets. All right, our final game for this Friday NHL slate. We've got the Anaheim Ducks taking on the Colorado Avalanche. Colorado minus 260, home favorites, 6.5 being the total in this game. Now, we know Colorado's not going to go 0-82. We know they're going to win a game eventually. You just have to ask yourself, is this team in the right mental frame of mind, and are they good enough on the ice physically right now to get the job done? I can't even chalk it up to them facing, the best teams in the NHL. Have they faced some good teams so far? Yeah, they faced Vegas. They faced Boston's pretty solid still. I don't know if Boston's nearly as good as last year, but they're a solid team. The Islanders, although they got shut out by St. Louis last night and Joel Hofer, and here's that Islander team that, 4 days ago rolled into Denver and put a 6 spot on the board against this Colorado Avalanche team. And then of course Columbus. Look, Columbus is playing hard this year. I think they've been in every game, and they're definitely improving, Columbus. And I think Dean Evason's got them playing the right way to begin the year, but still giving up 6 goals to them at home is not what you want to see. Yeah, I mean 4-0 to the over in the first period, and every first period over and every full game over has cashed this year for the Colorado Avalanche. And I think I've been on probably 2 or 3 of them now. I know I was on the over by Fecta in the Boston Colorado game. I know I was on the over by Fecta in the Islanders Colorado game, and I think I was on it for the Columbus Colorado game as well. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Jared Bednar sticks with Alexander Georgiev in net for better or worse, come hell or high water. He's back in net tonight once again for the Colorado Avalanche. This is a dual issue defensively right now. This is a Georgiev issue. Probably 60 to 65% of it is him. I would say, though, at least 35 to 40% of it is this blue line in front of them. They're just not shutting it down. It's just too easy to gain the blue line, too, for the other team. They're giving up the blue line too easy. The turnovers have been insane, how bad they've been at times for the Colorado Avalanche. There's no question. So will it get fixed tonight against Anaheim? Now, Anaheim's 2-1. And this is, in theory, this is supposed to be like Columbus, and this is supposed to be like the Islanders a little bit, where Colorado's supposed to answer the bell and win and get off the schneid. And against the Islanders, they didn't. Against Columbus, they didn't. And one thing about Anaheim is they can be a tough out for you. And last year when they played Colorado, the last 2 meetings were decided by 1 goal. You know, they did give Colorado a pretty tough game. You like what they've got up front with Leo Carlson and Troy Terry and Trevor Zegras. And, of course, now Cutter Gauthier got actually demoted in the lineup by Greg Cronin in that Utah game. In fact, he didn't get a regular shift later in that game. So he actually is kind of gotten in the coach's doghouse. He's going to be good eventually, but, you're talking about a guy that's coming straight out of college. It's not always going to be, he's going to hit the mark, and be ready to rock and be at his best right away. I think that's part of it. I think what Greg Cronin's looking for from Cutter Gauthier is a little bit more attention to detail away from the puck, and you can't just be one-dimensional. You're known for your playmaking, you're known for your goal-scoring ability, but you've got to be able to do other things, do the intangibles, be responsible away from the puck, and I think that's where Greg Cronin's been a little bit frustrated here the first couple of games of the season here with Cutter Gauthier. So, like I said, though, even if Gauthier is going to struggle early in the year, and like I say, it looks like it's a bit of an adjustment period for him here in the NHL, but you've still got, of course, Carlson, you've got Zegras, you've got McTavish. Robbie Fabry scored against Utah. He's on the second line. I always say when Robbie Fabry's healthy, he can be a very good offensive player in this league. We just haven't seen the health part of it enough from him. But like I said, if he stays healthy, he can be a very important contributor on the offensive end of the ice here for this Anaheim Ducks team. And certainly we saw that against Utah with him getting on the board and on the score sheet in that game. There is no Frank Vetrano. Yes, he has been placed, it looks like, on actually, it's not an injury. It's a birth of his child. His wife about to give birth to their first child. So it looks like that's the reason for Vetrano's absence, not an injury. So we'll see what they do as far as tinkering the line. It looks like Jansen Harkins is going to draw in on the bottom 6 to fill that void. For Colorado, look, we know injuries are part of it, but they're looking for someone to stick on that top line right now with McKinnon and Rantanen. It's been Ross Colton the last couple games, but all the candidates to be on that left wing side of the top line for Colorado, they're all out. They're all out. The 4 guys who would normally be the players in line to play with Rantanen and McKinnon are all out. Landeskog's been out for years now, it feels like. He'd be right there with them. Nichushkin's been someone that's been regularly on the top line with those 2 guys. He ain't coming back anytime soon. Lekkonen's been often on the top line with McKinnon and Rantanen. He's on IR. Jonathan Drouin has had time with McKinnon and Rantanen, and he's out as well for Colorado. So it's no wonder that they're a little discombobulated. Kovalenko, Middlestat, and Connor, Wood, Kelly, Ritchie, Ivan, Steinberg, and Kiviranta look like the 4 line combos tonight for Jared Bednar and the Avs. Devon Taves remains out, and there's not the team with the bushel full of depth on defense they had even just a couple years ago. Lower body injury. He is out once again due to that injury here tonight for the Colorado Avalanche. So it'll be Oliver Shillington, Cale Makar, Sam Girard, Josh Manson, Calvin DeHaan, Sam Malinsky as the 6 on defense with Georgiev and net. Yeah, I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. with this Colorado team. The primary bets for me are the over 1.5, over 6.5, over bifecta here in this game. It's a little pricey with the over 1.5, upwards of -150 to -160. I did lay it, and I like over 6.5, -120, -125 in this game. Again, the first period and the full game over has cashed in every single Colorado Avalanche game this year. I'm also going to sprinkle on the Ducks money. These are small bets only, but I'm going to sprinkle on Anaheim money line and Anaheim team total over 2.5. I got over 2.5 with Anaheim's team total -104. Pretty good price with that at Bet Rivers. So a very solid price with that. Anaheim team total over 2.5. And of course, a little bit on Anaheim. I have no problem taking a shot with Anaheim. Now, we know Colorado will win a game eventually, but until I see it with my own two eyes, it's what I've said all throughout this season so far here on the Ice Guys show. If you see a winless team laying a price like this, and we're now 4 or 5 games into the season and they're laying a price like this, I have no issues going against that team until they prove they can find a way to get it done, until they prove they can find a way to win the game. And so for me, the smaller bets are the Anaheim money line at +240, the Anaheim team total over 2.5, anywhere from -104 to about -115 to -120. And the primary bets are the over bifecta here with over 1.5 and over 6.5. Might even make it a trifecta and sprinkle on the both teams to score in the first period as well at a plus price here with the Ducks and the Avs. And then as far as props go for this game, I like Robbie Fabry. I mentioned it. He scored the last game. He's playing with McTavish and Trevor Zegras on the second line. Worth a look. I think Leo Carlsson getting his first goal, maybe it loosens him up a little bit, relaxes him, gets him playing with a lot more vigor. Just sometimes when you see that first goal go in, a bunch follow. So Leo Carlsson might be worth a look for Colorado. Kovalenko and Ross Colton, I believe, do have value. Kovalenko's on the left wing side, second line. Middlestat might be worth a look too, because he's someone that's been one of the players that's been somewhat of a bright spot here for the Avalanche offensively this year. And of course, like I said, just because he's with McKinnon and Rantanen by default right now, and you're getting a better price, Ross Colton, someone I would look at. Yeah, Lukas Dostal will be in net for Anaheim. He wasn't as sharp against Utah, but look, Utah's got some game breakers, and a lot of those goals were just nice shots, nice plays. I don't put too many of the Utah goals, of the 4 goals that they scored on Anaheim in that overtime loss to the Ducks the other night. I don't pin a lot of them on Dostal. But that being said, Dostal is playing a Colorado team that when they're right, they can be a dangerous offensive team. The key thing being when they're right. So it's going to be interesting to see, like I say, if they can right the ship tonight. And again, if this is Colorado in any sort of reasonable price range, maybe I wouldn't be as eager to bet against them. But -260 with what I've seen, the lack of mental confidence, with the lack of ability to defend, with the lack of being able to get key timely saves from their goaltending from Georgiev, there's more than enough on the there's more than enough meat on the bone as far as negativity for Colorado. That totally fine, totally okay going against them and trying to beat them as a -260 favorite here in this game tonight. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Hit the like button. We appreciate it very much. Thanks to all of you watching, not only on YouTube, but on Facebook and Twitter X, all the online social media platforms. Appreciate it very much. A reminder, make sure you sign up at patreon.com/iceguys, just $10 per month. There you will find, of course, goalie charts, totals charts, power ratings. We've got, of course, the daily betting card, sides, totals, player props posted each and every day on the Ice Guys Patreon page from me, Alex, and any of our guests. The bargain bin special, best bets, the full cards, side totals, player props, everything there each and every day. And again, it's just $10 per month. Kept the price the same all these years. And your subscription goes a long way to keeping this show on the air and keeping it going long term. So $10 per month. Make sure you sign up, patreon.com/iceguys. And make sure you check out the Ice Guys store as well. Get your gear and your merch over at iceguys.myspreadshop.com. Bill McDonald, I see you, man. You're asking me 10 million times in the chat about this CFL game with my tie. And I got the Ticats golf shirt on. And golf shirt, you notice I've got short sleeves. It's going to be low 70s Fahrenheit here. It's a very mild day here in Hamilton for late October, which is great. I love it. It's nice to be able to rock short sleeves here when we're talking the latter part of October. So, I see. I agree with you. I mean, Ticats should want to win the home game here. Final home game. Calgary's terrible. So, to me, I can't make a case for Calgary. They've been horrible, but it's up to -5 now. And Hamilton's always kind of a tricky team to ask to lay points, but you can't back Calgary Stampeders. I mean, they're 1-8-1 straight up in their last 10 games, 2-8 against the spread their last 10 games. A lot of their losses, too, have been by margin. 15-point loss, 21-point loss, 8-point loss, 17-point loss, 5-point loss last week, but that was Edmonton at home. So, yeah, it's Hamilton or pass for me. I think the over could hit there in that game as well. Just because, look, I think Hamilton wants to put a good performance out there, final home game of the year. Bo Mitchell, I think, is going to play maybe not the whole game, but a good portion of it. And Matthew Schultz is going to be the quarterback for Calgary, who's better than Jake Mayer, who's former Ticat, probably returned to Hamilton for him. He's probably going to want to put on a good game, and he's capable of it, especially when Hamilton's defense hasn't been great all year. So the over probably is what I'd look at in that Stampeders-Ticats game as well. I like Toronto Argonauts, and I like BC Montreal over in the other games this weekend as well in the CFL. I lean BC, but Davis Alexander, man, that kid can play, and I think he's going to start at quarterback for the Alouettes. I don't like fading him. He's played really well. I think Montreal's won every game he started this year as well. So I just like the over in that Montreal-BC game. All right, great stuff. That's enough CFL. It's a hockey show, damn it. So we got to put our attention back on the NHL. But thank you for the questions. I do appreciate it. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Hit the like button. We've got the bargain bin special of the night and best bets coming up right after we hear from our great Ice Guys sponsors.
Support for the Ice Guys podcast is provided by Boston Hemp Incorporated, Manscaped, Power Play Sportsbook, Raise Your Game, Tailgaters Sofa, and a big thank you to all that subscribe to the Ice Guys Patreon page. Everyone loves a perfect pair. Bacon and eggs. Thunder and lightning. Mario and Luigi. A hot dog with fries. Ian and Alex B. That's right. Everyone loves a perfect pair. So why not pair up your game nights with Boston Hemp? From exotic flower to concentrates and edible products. You'd be hard-pressed to find a better pairing than Boston Hemp and hockey. Check them out today at bostonhempinc.com. That's bostonhempinc.com. Boston Hemp Incorporated, the official smoke sponsor of the Ice Guys. Void where prohibited by law. Not available outside of the United States. Must be 21 or over to obtain products. Check your local regulations to see if Boston Hemp is available in your area.
All right, check them out. All our great sponsors. We thank them for supporting the show. And support our sponsors, because supporting our sponsors helps support the show. And make sure you check out Boston Hemp Inc. 20% off all orders on the site using the promo code Ice Guys. Make sure you sign up for Power Play Sportsbook. Again, we have Larry from Power Play Sportsbook with us for the Betting Man Advantage every single Wednesday on this show. The link to sign up at Power Play Sportsbook is posted in the video description. I also posted it on the Patreon page as well. You click that link. You put in all your information, sign up for the account, and you will also be given some kind of bonus credit through that sign up. So make sure you check that out. Again, the link is posted on the YouTube video description and the Patreon page, and it'll be in the YouTube video description of every video moving forward, the sign up link for Power Play Sportsbook. Again, unfortunately, it's only for Canadians. It's Canada only right now with Power Play Sportsbook, but if you are a Canadian Ice Guys viewer or listener or a Canadian Patreon member, the link to sign up at Power Play Sportsbook is posted there. So make sure you check that out. And again, signing up there supports the sponsors and helps, of course, support the show. All right, let's wrap things up here with best bets and bargain bin special of the night. Bargain bin special of the night. This is not a night where a lot of things jumped off the page as far as a bargain bin special for this slate, is in really any of these games. So it's a lukewarm, I guess, kind of addition or kind of a feel with it. But I'm going to take Robbie Fabry. We talked about it in the last game we discussed, Anaheim, Colorado. He's on the second line. When he's healthy, he can score goals. We've seen it in the past with St. Louis and with Detroit. Now here he is in Anaheim with an opportunity to play in the top six, and plus 460 at Bet Rivers right now for Robbie Fabry to find the back of the net. So we're going to go with Robbie Fabry, Anaheim Ducks, plus 460 for my bargain bin special of the night for this Friday NHL slate. All right, best bet. Hey, we cashed best bet on Wednesday night with the Colorado Avalanche game over the total of 6.5. And I definitely like it again. We're going to go right back to it. Give me Anaheim, Colorado, over 6.5, minus 120. I think it's a game where we'll see enough goals to get over that total. Anaheim will chip in. And I think Colorado will get their share as well. The one thing about Anaheim is a shutdown defensive team. They're still not totally there as far as being that kind of squad. And Colorado, you would think, still has the ability to be able to find the back of the net against this Anaheim Ducks team. I know Anaheim has a shutout on their resume so far this year, but that was against a San Jose team that's a little bit offensively challenged early in the year. So I expect enough offense from both teams here to get this game up and over the total between the Ducks and the Avs. And again, like I said, I think Anaheim's got a shot to win this game, and I like the value with Anaheim. But like the other night, we'll go with the full game over as the best bet and the best way to play it here with this late Friday night matchup. Anaheim, Colorado, over 6.5, minus 120 for my best bet here for this Friday night. All right, shout out to everyone in the chat. Hit the like button on the way out. We appreciate it very much. And like I said, it's going to be it's a fun 3-game card, and it's going to be a very fun Saturday card coming your way tomorrow. It is a huge Saturday slate. Make sure you join us, noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central, 9 a.m. Pacific. It'll be me, Alex B. Smith, and of course, Calder Brooks will be in the house, our Saturday contributor now moving forward with the Ice Guys show. He did a great job. He was on twice last week, Friday and Saturday, and he'll be back in the house tomorrow with us as well. Hope you are joining us and in the house with us too. All right, that is it. A reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week. Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday and Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and more. Download the Ice Guys podcast when you can't watch the show live. I do see a question, Jordy. It's one of these deals with the card. I know there's people that want it posted timely, but I also don't want to have to add several plays to it after I post it already. And a lot of times there's going to be nights where I find out some late breaking info and there's injuries, or wait a minute, this goalie's playing instead, like at 6 p.m. Eastern, 6:30 before the games. And I don't want to have to edit the whole post and put in a bunch of different plays. So look, we try to have a balance, right? We don't want to post it right before the puck drop, but we have to allow for late additions to the card. So it's 4 Eastern, 5 Eastern is a little too early. It's not usually going to be that early that we post the card unless I'm out for the night. Actually, tonight's a night where I'm going to be posting it like in probably 30 minutes because I'm gone to the Ticat game. So it's going to be up early. But most nights, look for it by 6 p.m., 6:30 p.m. Eastern at the latest. But we're going to try this year to get it out and posted by 6 p.m. Eastern time. Most nights, especially Monday to Friday. On the weekends, obviously, mostly the night games, we'll try to get the card up for the app. We'll try to get at least the plays posted for the afternoon games on the weekends before the puck drop, but certainly you'll have all the night games for the Saturday and the Sunday, again, by 5 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Eastern. So, again, it's just the reason why we don't want to post every single day at 4 Eastern and 5 Eastern. We'd love to, because obviously you're going to be able to see it quicker and bet them, at a more prompt period of time. But it's just, I have late additions. I know Alex does often as well. So we don't want to have to edit the card too much. A lot of times we want to make those additions to the card late and then post the card for the first time. So that's why sometimes it's later. But again, we're going to do our best this year to get the Patreon betting card for the Ice Guys posted each day by 6 p.m. Eastern as best we can. Thank you for the question. Thank you to everyone for tuning in. I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Friday night. Enjoy the games and good luck. We'll be back with you tomorrow on Saturday for another edition of the Ice Guys.